Hi, I'm Wilhelmina on Vancouver Island, off the west coast of Canada, and this is the summer of 2016. Say, have you heard about free energy? It's time you did, because everyone is talking about it. Free energy is what's going to take the place of fossil fuels. Do you mean solar energy? Nope. Wind? Nope. Well, sort of. But the free energy I'm talking about is way better than solar and wind. It's a zillion times better. Where does this free energy come from? We're swimming in it, breathing in it, and soaking it in through our pores. The space between the stars is jam-packed full of it. So is the space between the atoms in our bodies. Free energy is everywhere, and it can't have a meter put on it. It's ours for the taking. How much pollution is this free energy going to make? Zip. What's it going to cost me? Zip. Is it safe? Definitely. Are you sure there's enough free energy to go around? There are a lot of people on this planet. I'm sure. Where can I buy a free energy machine? You can't. Not yet, but it won't be long now. I've heard that the free energy field is full of scam artists, shysters, and sleazebags. It is. How is the man on the street to know who to believe? You can believe me. You can believe me when I tell you that there are now a number of good-looking free energy devices coming along. You can believe me when I tell you that the most promising one to date is called the QEG, the Quantum Energy Generator. You can believe me when I tell you that today, now, this QEG, although it's still in the developmental stage, can draw out enough free energy from the void to keep itself running without any conventional power coming into it, and it can put out enough standard electricity to power an average American home. You snooze, you lose, folks. There's a reality show going on today that you don't want to be missing out on. What's happening is round one in the duel to the death between free energy and fossil fuels, and you'll be sorry to sleep through the whole match. It's time I told you the QEG story, so you can wake up to what the heck is going on these days in the real world, a world that matters to you a whole lot. My name is Wilhelmina. This is the summer of 2016. My granddaughter's boyfriend has asked me to tell him the story of the QEG. So here it is. It's not a short story, so, as Valerie Robitaille says when she sends me a long letter, get your popcorn. Here we go. The QEG story, that's QEG for Quantum Energy Generator, begins about 3 years back with a soon-to-be retired electrical engineer in Pennsylvania, United States of America. His name is James Robitaille. Actually, the story begins over 100 years earlier with an inventor named Nikola Tesla, so I'm going to have to back up a little farther. Nikola Tesla, according to Wikipedia, was born in 1856 in what is now Croatia. He emigrated to the United States in 1884 at the age of 28 and died in 1943 in New York City at age 86. An inventor, electrical and mechanical engineer, and physicist, he is best known for his contributions to the design of the modern AC, alternating current, electrical supply system. He also pursued his ideas for wireless lighting and electricity distribution. Notice the word wireless. wireless lighting and electricity distribution. His work fell into relative obscurity after his death. That's the end of the quote. But what Wikipedia does not tell me is that during Tesla's early years in the United States, a great battle was raging to determine whether AC power or DC power would be the one to come into place. Dirty games were played. There's always dirty games. I have heard that Thomas Edison, the DC man and Tesla's rival, once fried an elephant as part of a spectacle to prove to the public that Tesla's AC form of power was too hot to handle. Edison had the backing of the big-time financier J.P. Morgan, who is now remembered by free energy fans for having once said to Tesla, "If I can't put a meter on your kind of power, it isn't going to happen." Da-da. And at that time, Morgan was heavily invested into copper, which was being used for transmission lines. To make a long story short, Nikola Tesla was seriously stomped on. He did not end up in a lake wearing a pair of cement boots, but he did spend the rest of his life in bitter obscurity. So, there was the matter of the copper wiring. But the biggest problem with using free energy to make electricity, the problem from the point of view of J.P. Morgan and the other financiers, is that free energy is free. It is drawn directly from the vacuum of space, which turns out not to be empty space at all, and which is sometimes called the quantum field, and sometimes called by many other names. But once the appropriate machine is constructed to do this drawing out, and Nikola Tesla knew how to do this, then the energy itself is free. It is infinitely abundant, and it does not harm either elephants or the environment. So, Nikola Tesla took a tumble, and the energy that has brought us to our present level of prosperity has been based on the burning of fossil fuels and wires and everything else that goes with it. This level of prosperity, for those of us who enjoy it, is satisfactory, but it has come at a great price, and now we have arrived at a point where even the most cynical of us agrees that planet Earth is in big trouble, and where the most despairing of us are questioning our ability to survive as a species. Back to Nikola Tesla. When I say he was stomped on, what I mean is that his labs were destroyed, smashed. The patents he had taken out were seized and disappeared, and not a whisper of his theories about the nature and the availability of free energy has ever made it into any textbook or teaching program on science or physics. Ever. Today's quantum physicists are becoming enlightened about the nature of free energy, but the majority of classically trained physicists will vehemently deny the existence or possibility of free energy because they have never heard a word about it. This is not an accidental oversight. Like fire-breathing dragons, ever watchful, who toast each starry-eyed adventurer that happens to stumble into one of their dens, the industrial energy giants have been guarding their hoarded treasure. But, and this is a big but, not all of Tesla's papers ended up as ash. The odd one here and there was overlooked and left to moulder in some gloomy attic or damp, dark cellar. From time to time, over the past 100 years, a free energy enthusiast has brought an invention of Tesla's out into the light and has managed to make something functional of it. In every case, every single case, either the enthusiasm has been dashed with the dire threats of physical or financial harm to the inventor and his family, or the plans have been purchased at phenomenal prices sometimes, that put stars in anyone's eyes, and have been placed on a black shelf, or the patent has been seized and the lab has been trashed by men in black suits and ski masks in the name of national security. What national security does, above all and at all costs, is to secure the nation's energy resources, aka oil resources, aka fossil fuel interests. All right. It has taken me a while to get here, but I am now ready to bring James Robitaille into the spotlight. Enter James, stage right. James Robitaille, that's Robitaille, Robitaille, knows electricity. He knows of the surviving works of Nikola Tesla. He is aware of other inventors who are currently trying to build free energy devices, and James is thoroughly fed up. The farm property that he and his wife Valerie have moved to in the rolling, beautiful green hills of Pennsylvania, their Shangri-La, their dream property on which they plan to retire to raise goats and chickens and gardens and goodwill, has just been condemned. The oil extracting methods that are being used in their neck of the woods has rendered the water in the area's wells unfit for human consumption. James is not flush with cash, and he is keenly aware of how big a chunk of his income is going, both directly and indirectly, into the pockets of the upper ranks of the energy industry, whom he considers as robber barons. As James and Valerie are packing to leave their farm, James says to his wife, "I've had it. I am not going to knuckle under again. I'm going to build a free energy device of my own. I know I can do it." And Valerie says, "What can I do to help you?" So that's how he got started. Now we can switch to present day, 2 years later, maybe 3 by now, or it could be getting up to 4. It doesn't matter. Valerie's daughter, Hope, has come on board the project, and she is gung-ho. She is a gung-ho person. Hope is an MBA with considerable experience in big money business. She knows how to organize. She knows how to get things done. She knows how to talk straight. She also knows how to get around online. Together, during these past few years, as they have been working on this QEG project, the Robitaille family has learned the meaning of the word hassle. They have been hassled. Among other things, they have moved 7 times. Times have been tough, but I'm not going to go into the details. The family has now, just this year, relocated to Morocco because, as Hope says, the business climate there is more favorable for a project such as ours, because I've been corresponding with her in Morocco. Hope has a bright spirit. She has boundless enthusiasm and lofty aspirations. Among other things, she has founded a humanitarian aid organization called Fix the World. I will tell you about it someday in Wilhelmina's diary after I get that new website going. Through all the ups and downs, James has been quietly working on his machine, his quantum energy generator, his QEG, in the summer of 2016. There is still fine-tuning to be done on it, and countless possible revisions. Think of the first computer, where it started and where it's come. But there is more to the QEG story that I want to tell you today. What does the QEG look like? You're wondering this. I wondered this. It's not much to look at. At this point, it's a clunky-looking, noisy machine. Definitely not photogenic. Weighs about 95 pounds. Sits on a workbench in the basement, aka James's lab. The guts of the QEG look to me like a life ring wrapped around and around with copper wire. If you want more visuals, you can poke around on YouTube and find a picture there. You will also find there plenty of free energy detractors and naysayers. You're going to have to wade through them. But there are pictures around. What is James Robitaille doing today? He is not sitting back and cooling his heels. There is a fire burning in his belly. James wants more than getting himself off the grid. He wants to put the power of the planet back into the hands of the little people. He has wanted this from the very beginning. For this reason, he has written up a build manual for his QEG. He's done it upright in a professional way, with photos and CAD drawings that an engineer or electrically minded do-it-yourselfer can understand. This manual is now open-sourced and it's out there. And you can find it on Hope's website, the family's website. And what this means is that the instructions for building a QEG are now public property. No one can slap a patent on them, and no one can snatch them and stuff them away in a dark corner. There are some people who are trying to do these things, and the Robitaille family is, as usual, fighting back. When I got my copy of the build manual for the QEG, I didn't understand a word of it, but I was duly impressed. And I can always use an extra pile of scrap paper because writing is a hobby of mine. So it ended up in a good place. James is now in contact, online, with a sizable network of engineers, electrical engineers and tinkerers, all over the place, and he's teaching them everything he knows. These fellows are learning from each other as they go along. James told me recently that he knows of at least 60 QEGs that are currently under construction. At this point, building a QEG, even with the manual, is still not easy. For one thing, it's not as if you can walk into Home Depot and buy the parts. For another thing, the tuning of the QEG after the pieces are put together is tricky business. It has to be set somehow to the frequency of the Earth, and it is possible to have a surge of incoming power that, as James puts it, blows the core and sets you back to square one. This happened to James on a group build that he organized in Taiwan. He and other people. How he explained this to me was, too many screwdrivers in too many eager hands. It was very discouraging, but he kept grinding on. He has also made hours and hours of videos. That's where Val comes in. She's on the other end of the video camera, fiddles with the computers. He has made hours and hours of videos and auxiliary teaching material. For this a person pays. The family still likes to eat after all, and to have a roof over their heads, and James has already emptied his pockets into his project. Promoting free energy has become the family's lifetime mission. In spite of all the frustrations and the finagling and the financial pressures, they all keep grinding on. I think what they have done is amazing. I think it's phenomenal. I think it has the potential to create a new and improved version of the planet, and of the human life that lives upon it, and of the animal, vegetable, and mineral life upon the earth. I think this QEG, along with the many other free energy devices that are now being quietly worked upon in garages and backrooms and basements, could bring about the changes that so many of us are now yearning for. I think that what the Robitaille family has done is, I'll say it again, phenomenal. If I had a medal, I would give it to them. I'm just about finished. But I want to tell you that a fourth member has joined the family team. Yvonne Rivers, another electrical engineer passionate about free energy, who was present at a QEG group build in the UK, has since then become Hope's partner, and a partner to the QEG and the Fix the World projects. The family of 4 now live together in Morocco. I think of them as the Fabulous 4. What Yvonne tells me is, we live together, work together, play together, pray together. We work hard, play hard, and pray hard. Yvonne is now developing a downscale version of the QEG, a mini QEG, that he says will be easier and less costly for engineers and do-it-yourselfers to build and to tinker with and to put their own spins to. Next question. What does it cost to build a QEG? Either the big one or the mini? It's hard to say right now. I can't put a figure on it. The family can't put a figure on it. It is costing a bundle to build the first ones. And the boys have to work a little on them and then wait until their crowdfunders send a little more cash and then build a little more. Yvonne is currently negotiating with tool makers in China and all over to have them make components for the Mini so that new builders can get their hands on the parts they need. But before the parts can get made and cranked out, the molds have to be made that make the parts, and that's what costs the big bucks. James has been living in Pennsylvania this past winter, and he intends to keep a lab in the U.S. And while he was there this winter, he was negotiating with an American tool-making company to get parts made for the big QEG. He's pleased with the arrangements he was able to make. I know the name of the company he's working with, but I don't think the time is right for me to be blabbing these details to you. I tell you folks, the Robitaille family are busy these days. They are refining the product, they're conferencing, they're teaching, and they're spreading the word. in addition to their Fix the World activities with the humanitarian aid. They are going like a house afire. They have a vision of cottage industries springing up all over the planet that are dealing in free energy, distributing parts for QEGs, selling the devices that inventive minds are now inventing. There is money to be made in converting to free energy, but this is money for the many rather than for the few. And I'm not only talking about the QEG. Do you know motors in the past? But these people have disappeared, crept back into their corners, crushed, had, quote, unfortunate accidents, sometimes fatal, been outright murdered. I kid you not. But I'm telling you folks, free energy is on the way in. The QEG has slipped under the radar. It has reached a point in its emergence from obscurity where it is now unstoppable. The cat is out of the bag. As James says, nothing is going to stop me. And nothing is going to stop the QEG now. It doesn't matter if something happens to me, because so many other people are now working on their own QEGs. You who's listening to this, you don't have to take my word for this. Check it out if you like. Every couple of weeks, there is another YouTube popping up that says, Germany has resonance! Exclamation marks. Australia has resonance. Japan has resonance. China has resonance. And now, I'm done with the QEG story as it stands today. I tell you folks, I am fired up about free energy. My motto these days is, up with free energy. So I'll say bye for now. And I will thank you for listening to this, because this means there is one more person in the world who knows what the heck is going on out there that is important. Bye for now, and I'll catch you later.
If you're looking for quantum energy generator parts for your QEG project assembly, Terelco can help.
first time this machine goes in resonance, it makes an arc, and it's loud. So don't be alarmed. It just does it once, usually. Doesn't always do it. But I'll get to a certain RPM and it'll just start resonating.